So 2017 was an interesting market. Volatility. We'd come into 2017 and there was synchronized global growth. A lot of it was led by China.
Yeah.
So emerging markets in Europe were coming off a tough 2016 and they were starting to grow. So we had, and volatility regime was extremely low, right? So this is the perfect market to actually play directional views with options. So I was long emerging markets and long Europe via options. And it was giving you very high risk adjusted returns. And that trend lasted the whole year, something that carried through till December. And it worked out perfectly because whenever there was you weren't afraid of the volatility in the market. If there was going to be a drawdown or anything, you had limited loss structures in place through these options.
Yeah.
And it really helped because it gets you emotionally ready as well for anything that can go wrong. Just to tell you how cheap options were back then.
Yeah, give us some context.
Right. So if I bought a 2% out of the money S&P put, a 1 month put, it used to cost me 0.3%.
Yeah.
Right now that costs you 2%. That's a game changer. I'm not sure we're ever going to see that again.
So
never say never.
30 bips basically, and
Correct.
now it's 200, right?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Never say never.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. So that so we had a streak of like 14, 15 months positive returns. So going into 2018.
And on 2017, it was 19% up.
19%.
Sharp of 5.
Yeah.
And I think you outperformed the macro hedge funds by 15% or something of that mark. And I'm sure no one out there is flexing sharps of 5 in the macro discretionary space. Right?
I was fortunate. It was a good start.
First year, you must have thought this thing is easy, right? It's like, right? And then 2018.
2018, so went into the year looking at the macro data, playing U.S. outperformance, which involved relative performance with Europe, because China has started to step on the brakes.
Sure.
Looking at U.S. interest rates going up as Trump just passed the tax cuts, etc. But 2018 was the year of flash crashes for me, and it was a big, it was a learning experience. So what we noticed was, you came out of 2017, this very low vol regime.
Yeah.
Positions were extended. Nobody worried too much because you thought you could trade with a lot of liquidity. When we had the first vol shock in February 2018, that really showed us that liquidity disappeared when you needed it the most. And what's happened over the last decade is, since the GFC, banks have had to step aside from market making.
Yeah, and the Volcker rules and regulations.
Exactly, and then the high frequency guys have come in to take their place.
Sure.
So during calms of, when it's calm, it's okay. They're there, they're providing liquidity.
Sure.
The minute there's a bit of chaos, they disappear.
Yeah.
So 2018 for me was really studying the market depth and getting a better understanding of this.
Yeah.
Because we actually got stopped out of 2 to 3 good trades because of the volatility.
Gotcha.
And I have a very strict risk management framework where we have to cut our losses.
Yeah.
So what I understood from that and what we rejigged in 2018 was we started to use options a bit more to hedge these events, because I think it's something that's here to stay as long as the high frequency guys keep taking a bigger market share in the market making business. So it costs a little bit more to use options to sort of do the risk management, but it's definitely worth it because you're going to keep seeing this happen again and again, like it did in Q1 this year.
Because I think this is something a lot of people and even so-called professionals in the markets don't appreciate. Because when banks were market making a lot more and also having the ability to run prop positions, but they were also obligated to make markets. And a lot of these high frequency guys and gals are not, right? So they completely disappear, only take one side that they want. When things hit the fan, so to speak, right?
That's right.
It's a really key structural big difference, I think, that is not appreciated. Go on, yeah.
Yeah. So then getting into 2019 with the rejigged risk management framework. So for the last, I'd say 2 years, 18 months, it's been pretty good. So we went into 2019 positioned for lower growth. It was positioning for the Fed and other central banks to cut interest rates. So we had long duration, long government bonds that played out well till Q3. And then you started to see things get a bit more constructive. So China had been slowing for a while. They've been doing fiscal stimulus. And you noticed that data in North Asia started to improve. And that was my first step back into getting into equities again in North Asia, China, Korea, Taiwan. And that was working out well in Q4.